Welcome to Copy Chief Radio. Today's show is a freelancer's journey episode where successful freelancers share the tactical moves that catapulted their careers through the phases of the freelancer's journey. To see all 7 phases, where you are now, and how to move forward, head over to copychief.com/phases. To check out all the Copy Chief Radio episode types, go to copychief.com/CCR. Welcome, friends. It's great to have you. Thanks for spending time with me today. I'm excited to welcome back Brenna McGowan for her second episode. Her first episode was wildly popular, and I'm thrilled to say that what she was just beginning to focus on when we last spoke, I think it was the end of last year, November, December of 2021. Here it is, summer of 2022. And Brenna's experiment, let's call it, because all of marketing is an experiment, really, is going very, very well. And so first of all, Brenna, welcome. It's great to have you back.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So pre-launch is the thing. And this is going to be a freelancer's journey episode. So I want to start with where you are now rather than kind of do it backwards for a couple of reasons. One, it's a really cool follow-up to the last episode. And you and I worked together, and it's been really fun to have sort of a behind-the-scenes look at everything you've done to grow this offer into what it is. You're selling out programs, really getting to move from done-for-you services to consulting and teaching and coaching. And that's an amazing feat for anybody, let alone somebody who's only been at this 4 years now and only copywriting for 3 years. So congratulations on all that.
Thank you.
And a quick link for everybody, Brenna McGowan, McGowan.co. And then you can go to /masterclass, and she'll show you exactly what she did to sell out this program the first time. We always love when people show their work. Right? It's like the thing we're the best expert on in the world is the thing we just accomplished. And sometimes people are like, oh, nobody wants to hear that. I'm like, that's exactly what they want to hear. So, Brenna, let's just talk about pre-launch. If people didn't hear that last episode or don't kind of know what it is, it's obviously what happens before a launch, but where does your focus in pre-launch sort of begin and end with clients?
Right. When I help clients or when I'm helping my students in my program, we're backing up about 6 weeks before what we would consider the date that the doors open. And we're creating a strategic content plan, if you will, around getting people really excited about what's going to be coming up in the launch, pre-selling seats, amplifying. I've been talking a lot lately about giving customers and clients autonomy to make really great decisions about the programs that they're going to go into. So when we start pre-launching and talking about our offers ahead of time, we're kind of feeding into that cycle of giving people a lot of space to make decisions. And the beautiful thing that happens is it kind of takes the pressure off of us to squish everything into a 7-day sales period. And it takes the pressure off the buyer because they have some time to make really great educated buying decisions.
So just to be clear, does it include things like a free workshop? Is it about implementing new tactics that you might not have used before? Is it just about warming up your audience before you go into all that, the hoopla?
Right. I think it's mostly about warming up your audience. I'm always a big proponent of getting your face out there live and talking to your clients and your customers 6 weeks ahead of time. So that having a real email, if you're someone who shows up on social, having a social plan. I think the crux of what I teach, because I am a copywriter, is like, okay, let's really make sure our email copy game is strong. And then how can we repurpose content around it during that time for the pre-launch?
Yeah, that's great. So it's really not having to invent new things. It's just about getting people excited about what you're about to tell them all about.
Right. And I think it's thinking about it strategically and having a real focused plan. You know, when I go through my program where I help clients, I walk through a certain amount of steps beforehand that really kind of preps the person and gets them ready to buy using, all of the copy concepts and conversion things that, we know work. And so, yes, it's definitely, because what happens most of the time with launches is that people are like, oh yeah, I'm so focused in on the launch. I'm just going to throw up some content beforehand. And it really doesn't do anything. So actually using the time and effort you're putting in before your launch to sell out your launch.
Right. And this worked very well for you. And so talk about your first of all, just creating what led you to create the program? You took a group of people and coached them through everything you would do if they were clients, essentially, in a pre-launch. Yeah.
Right. So like in a very, very meta fashion, I sold out my launch during my pre-launch. Right. So that's what I'm going to be talking about during my masterclass. But I think I've had in the back of my mind that I would really love to do more coaching. I will be honest, the thought of creating curriculum, I'm more of the person who just wants to talk fun concepts, like actually sit down and take everything in my brain and put it onto virtual paper was intimidating to me. So I think I just got to the point like where I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do this and set a date. And I sold a spot very early on. And I was like, oh, okay, now I really have to do it. Yeah. Now I really have to do what I said. And I think that sometimes we wait for the perfect time to start something off. I think too, I had an audience that I felt was really ready for my offer too. So, I've had a lot of success with pre-launch, but I also don't ever want to make it seem like this magic bullet that fixes everything. So I think, when I really started to look, I felt like I had the experience. I had the social proof that my offer had worked. I had worked with clients one-on-one. I felt like I had an audience that was ready. I was excited too, to offer something that was more affordable, if you will, than working with me one-on-one. And so I just decided it was the right time.
Awesome. The first one went swimmingly. You have all these people who are thrilled with it and even more testimonials. And now you're launching the second one and have already sold out a number of spots long before you even begin to promote it.
Yeah, I did a pre-launch this time, knowing it was summer, and offered some really fun bonuses and, sold out at this point 20% of my spots before even going into my pre-launch. So really jazzed about that and excited for the next round.
Yeah. And the price has gone up, as it well should, because that's a beta launch is supposed to be a special offer, right? Where we're vetting and asking people to invest their time and trust in us. And so now I think the price has doubled.
It's actually tripled, more than tripled.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Look at you.
There's a lot of one-on-one in this group too. I want to make sure I didn't just triple it. Like I'm actually editing copy that they're submitting. I'm looking at program is not just showing up to group calls. They're actually getting my eyes on copy they've written according to the plan that we've set out. So
that's something you took from doing it the first time. Was like, I'd rather get paid more to be able to have the time to get more hands-on with people.
Exactly. And have more space and spend a little bit more time on that.
Right. And so you have it capped at a number of people you can serve at that level, I'm imagining.
Yes, 20. And so, 20. And even I think if I do 20, I'll be splitting up even the calls to make like the coaching calls, because I want to make sure that everyone has ample time. I really feel the feedback that I got was, when I go back and look at the surveys, was like having my edits and my eyes on their copy, feeling like they could come and ask me questions about the specific plan that they were working through a plan together, was really valuable to people. And I think is something a little bit different than what other programs have.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, you feeling burned out at all with the client work? It can be a lot. If you've been at this for a year or more, chances are you're overbooked, overworked, underpaid, and it's getting to you. Starting to snap when people ask you, like, what are we doing for dinner? I don't know, eating? And you're like, oh, that wasn't good. Those are signs that you may be burning out. There's a fix. You've got to package up and sell your knowledge. That's right. You've worked hard to gain valuable knowledge. And you don't always have to be sitting in the chair typing away to get paid for all that knowledge. Let me show you, along with some guest experts, how to package up your knowledge for recurring income so that you can be more selective about the work you do and get paid what you deserve for the expert you are. It's September 14th, 15th, and 16th in Knoxville, Tennessee. Why Knoxville? Because it's easy to get to, but it's a long way away from the day-to-day work fog that's keeping you stuck in this cycle. So come hang with me and my team, and I'm going to show you how I've helped thriving business owners like Chris Warzakowski, Ian Stanley, Marcella Allison, Rachel Mazza, Ian Stanley, how I have helped guide them in their career to grow in the direction they want and not be stuck in the constant client cycle. Go to copychief.com/Knoxville. See what it's all about. And if it's for you, I hope to see you there. All right, so let's talk about this life, this business of being a freelancer, being an entrepreneur, husband Cole, 2 daughters, 2 teenage daughters, and a son.
Yes.
All teens?
Yes. So my son is 19, and then my daughters are 16 and 14.
Yeah. And so a very full life in that regard as well. First of all, how did you carve the time from all the responsibility? I know you're a very plugged in parent. So how did it start, I guess? Take me back to what were you doing before you decided to go into business for yourself, and how did you make the transition?
Right. Well, I was primarily a stay-at-home mom. Like, it was always really important to me to volunteer, and I live kind of rurally, so to be able to drive my kids to school, things like that. And so I was basically doing any like odd jobs I could or picked up. And coincidentally, I started doing like social media and some blogging and email marketing, different things along that nature. And I was also, right before I started this business, I was working for a website development company. I was doing bookkeeping and functional requirement documents, just like a little bit of everything, just part-time, picking up extra money. But what ended up happening is that website development company at the time, they pulled back on my hours, and I got really nervous about, I liked making a little extra money every month, and I didn't want to have to go get a real job. And at the same time, one of my good friends was starting a business as an esthetician. I wanted eyelashes. I always joke I started this business out of vanity. So we traded eyelashes for me to do her social media. The beautiful part, though, is like it all kind of happened at once. And I was turning 40 and having, like, I won't say like a full midlife crisis, but a tiny bit of one, right? Like, my kids are getting older. So it kind of all happened at once. And
you're having a midlife crisis pre-launch.
Yes. It was a precursor to what was about to happen. So I decided at that point, because I had been doing this other stuff, I told her, like, hey, why don't I help you do like some of your social media or some of your emails? People were complimenting her on her social media, which is funny too, because I didn't even have a Facebook of my own, like under my name. Like, I had no social media. So it's very ironic to me that now it's such a big part of what I do. But yeah. I just decided, like, hey, and once that happened, I was like, maybe I could like sell this to other people, truly not realizing that there was a whole like online world. Like, I didn't know there were social media managers. Like, I didn't understand. I just kind of made a decision to try something that made sense, that I could help and maybe make some money at on the side. And it just, that's where it started.
Wow. And that's not uncommon, right? You just do it because you can, and you have an knack for it, and somebody has a need for it, and and if you can get eyelashes out of it, all the better. Okay, so then when does it get real, and when basically a stranger now pays you to do this for them?
Well, it was a little while before a stranger. Well, I guess not a stranger. I created a website. My wonderful stepmom helped me like put a website, and I created a logo, which is so funny to me. I spent so much time on like a logo and all this stuff, but like, as we all know, doesn't matter. And I ended up not using any of it within a certain amount of time. But I think I had to do it, so I felt like legit, right? Like, I am real. And I just kind of threw it out there, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Friends and family, will you share this? And they did. And that's how I ended up getting my first clients, was through that. So the first thing I ever started to do was blog posting. In my mind, it was all one thing, like blogging, social media, email marketing. So I just offered it all. And Pinterest, like, I just started to do a little bit of everything. And that's where my first clients came from.
Meaning you started to do a little bit of everything, offering all those services, or for your own business? For
my own business, I started offering all of those services.
Right. And so then it's a a natural process of elimination is, again, we all go through in phase 3 and 4 of freelancing of, okay, wow, it's pretty cool. This is working. I should probably actually treat this like a business and make them some decisions about who's my customer, what do they want the most, what are they willing to pay the most for because they can see the return. What was that transition like?
Well, I think because I was doing social media and I was doing my own marketing. So from there, I was able to experiment. I kept on getting feedback about how people liked my writing. And so I started to think, because I was quickly burning out, I always joke that I was making like $2 an hour working for myself at first, because I was doing all these things and I didn't know how to do any of them. So, I was like studying and learning on the job training, which I know you're a big proponent of. So I did that very well. I think I first got paid in April 2018. By like September, I was like, okay, something's got to shift here. And I was calling myself a social media manager and I was doing all the things. And at that point, I signed up for Laura Belgray's
club
list. Yes. Yeah. No, not for, I signed up. I'm trying to think of her freebie. It was on writing. I can't think of the name for it right now. So when I found Laura and I knew I wanted to probably do more writing stuff, I got her emails and I was like, wait a second, like, I can like write these emails and write these like fun, quirky, like everyday stories and because I think in my head, that's kind of how I was already wired, but I didn't realize I could like get paid for doing it. And I remember emailing Laura and being like, oh my gosh, like, I love you. Sorry. And she replied back to me. And at that point, and I was like, oh my gosh, Laura Belgray replied back to me. And it really just started off the trajectory of, I really want to do email copy. And then soon after I found Chris Orzechowski, which is how I found you, he was offering his first email copy academy. And I joke around with him, signed up for it. I was a little nervous about spending $500, which cracks me up now. And so by the end of that first year, I started to call myself an email copywriter. So at the beginning of 2019, I decided to like draw a line in the sand and do email.
That's so cool. And did you have to discuss with the family making these investments or any of that, or did you kind of have autonomy? It's your business. You make your decisions. How was that?
No, I don't. I think it was definitely, I've been married. I'll be married 25 years in March. So I definitely think we've grown up together, and the way we work is for the most part, I think I have a lot more autonomy now in terms of my decisions. But back then, I think my husband was still like, is this legit? Like, are you actually like making money online doing this stuff? So I remember us talking about spending $500. And I actually had emailed Chris, was like, is this worth it? I think it was just, I needed some reassurance.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Yes, and I probably still have it, but like he sent a video back to me, which was the first time anyone had sent a video, like reassuring me. And I think it was like, okay, we both needed a little like reassurance that this was the right move.
I love that. I like when people ask, because you can tell when it's just sincere. It's like you said, you kind of probably told Chris that. It's like, I get it. I see what's on the sales page. I have no reason to think you're not legit, but just promise me this is for me. And you can see how I would use this and get a return, because it's new territory for me.
I say a lot too, like I didn't have like a ton of money, right? Like there's so much pressure online for people to invest and invest quickly. And I mean, who knows, but I'm glad like I went to the library and checked out books. I read blogs, and I'm glad I didn't invest heavily up front, because I would have invested in social media to find out that I wanted nothing to do.
Didn't want that. Yeah. Right. Just want to say to anybody, if they're thinking about creating a product, or even ideally for products you write for, would you make a video for somebody to essentially look them in the eye, or get on the phone with them and say, ask me anything you want, and I'll tell you everything I know, and I'll let you decide. But I'm very confident that this program will work for you. Like, that should be the criteria, right? And I think too often people go, I should have an offer, and so I'll make something up, kind of throw darts at the board. And so anyway, I just want to make that aside. It's a note on Chris's character. It doesn't surprise me a bit that he very much believes in everything he does. And I'm sure now that you're up there at this level, now making the same promise to people to trust you with their time, energy, and money, that you would, without hesitation, make that same call, make that same video. So that's a pretty cool evolution in a short span of time, just on its own.
100%. And I always appreciate that moment, because for me, I think he could have been like, $500 is nothing, right?
Get over it, lady.
Yeah, exactly. Where to me, it was a bit of a scary investment at the time. And so.
And he respected that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's what I love about this business so much. I just want to point out that, for the most part, we're people who create things to help the person we were then. And if I would have had a course like this, or somebody would have told me this, that's really at the end of the day, our motivation. There's only so much of a span in time where someone's still willing to share all that and still enthused to share all that until their business goes into another mode. And so whenever I get to sit with someone I consider a mentor or a great coach, I remember thinking this about John Benson, who I sat in his living room once while he gave a workshop. Ryan Levesque, Todd Brown, where they invited me to learn what they were doing. And I just remember thinking, they don't have to do this. This is not how they're making the most money. They're making the most money doing the thing they're showing me, And it's just so cool that they, for whatever reason, they felt a need to share this. It's an incredible thing. And it's an obligation for us as the teacher, the product creator, the wannabe mentor, to do everything we can to instill that trust in people and to show why we're doing it as much as what it does.
100%.
And so I didn't plan that little rant, but I wanted to point it out because it takes one to know one, and I'm sure you'll never forget what it was like to get that message from Chris, and how I'm sure that plays into your marketing, whether it's your stuff or for somebody else. I think that's probably a big part of what pre-launch is about, is establishing that trust and that reason why I'm even making this and offering this thing to you.
And I think too, I talked about at the beginning, really, not pressuring people into doing something they don't want to do. And I feel like, I can take that away from Chris. It wasn't like, oh, you should totally do this. Like, he gave a reasonable sales argument and then put the power back in my hands. And that's always really what I want to do. And what I'm really passionate about showing people do, like, we can have more sales and we can do it in a way that doesn't have this like salesy, urgency to the point where that's just not the way I work. And so that's what I love about what I do.
Yeah. I think that resonates a lot more these days, and will continue to than in the past. The whole world is becoming solution aware now.
Very much so.
So what is life like now? And again, you're really still at the beginning of this journey. It's amazing what you've accomplished. And, you said 2018 with social media, 2019, you go into copy. So you'll work with clients, but I guess very strategically at this point. You kind of don't need to do done for you at this point.
Well, in between launches, I still have been. It just depends too. Like, I think I'm being more, if you will, choosy about the clients that I pick up and making sure it's something that I'm really passionate about, that I really feel like I can help. Being part, especially if I'm part of a launch, like, I want to be part of the strategy of it all. If I am doing one-on-one work, that's a part of what I'm doing. But yeah, as I move into more and more, even from the first round of my pre-launch program, I have retained and kept a handful of people that are doing monthly coaching with me. So I do see the evolution. I don't know. We'll see. Like, I don't see me ever going away completely for done for you, because I think it's what helps keep me grounded, to a point, keep me plugged in, keep me grounded, keep me thinking. Yeah. So I think it helps me be a better coach, better teacher, better facilitator, being a little bit more in the trenches. I think I just have to be careful not to overwhelm myself with taking on too much work and trying to do too many things at this point.
Exactly right. Yeah. Very cool. It's a good mix. And I think the plan is, so you'll close the doors of this program when? September?
The end of August.
End of August. And then you'll be kicked off and running the program up until the end of the year. And are you going to take yourself a little break over the holidays?
My goal, I was just telling, I have a little peer mastermind group. And so my goal, so technically the next program would run from the end of September to the first week of December. So my little dream I have is to take, I love Christmas. And so to actually take a little bit of December off and not, I ruined my December last year with way too much work. And I'm I'm really don't want to do that to myself again. So
Yeah. Good for you. If you could turn that around in 1 year, I'll be happy for you. Every year, my writing partner, Ben, and I would say, we're taking all of December off. And then October, man, people just start sending you blank checks because everybody has a December or January promo. We could never resist the temptation. So
I'm going to try and resist, but we'll see.
You'll do it. You'll do it. You have so much to celebrate. Awesome. All right, Brenna, thank you. Again, go to Brenna, Brenna, McGowan, McGowan.co/masterclass to get the complete breakdown of how Brenna's done this for her own business. And of course, lots of great stuff on her website about how she does this for all businesses. What about your Facebook group, Brenna? Is that free for people to join, or is that only for people who are in your programs?
Yep. If you go to Facebook and search the Copy and Content Conversation or my name, you'll be able to find my Facebook group as well.
I know you're very active in there and always put up a lot of great content and behind the scenes support. So thanks for all you do. I love working with you. I'm so proud of everything you've accomplished, and it's only the beginning. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
Hey, don't forget your goodies. Head over to copychief.com/copychiefradio to get some great free stuff to help you put the things you hear on the show into action for your business. copychief.com/CCR.